depending on where you're watching us from. My name is Femi Mano Damilola, and with me here is Dr. Eben, and we'll be discussing with you this afternoon on the things we've learned thus far on this series, Mastery Unleashed. I know you enjoyed, so stay tuned. All right, Dr. Eben. So it's been an amazing 4, 5 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yes, 5 weeks, I think so.
Mm.
Yes, it's been an amazing 5 weeks. This is the fifth of discussing this topic, Mastery Unleashed. So I want to know what exactly has been your take on this topic?
Okay, when it comes to mastery, I think one thing that has struck me, mastery is something that can be achieved in a short time. Mastery is not something that is immediate. Mastery takes time, right? And not just taking time, it takes consistency with time to get to that point of mastery. So that's just something that has really stuck with me. And also the fact that you cannot attain mastery if you do not have a drive. There ought to be something driving you every day when you wake up, irrespective of the successes, irrespective of the milestones you've reached. There needs to be something that keeps driving you. You know, you look at Dangote, you look at Mark Zuckerberg, guys, they have, in our eyes, they are okay, they are rich, right? But what keeps driving this guy? Look at Elon Musk. What keeps driving them to keep reaching a new level and that?
Breaking new
So, you know,
grounds.
so what drives us? Very
Okay,
important.
okay. All right. So I want to ask a question. Do you think I can become a master in a field that is not particularly, maybe I'm not talented naturally in this particular thing? Do you think I can focus on that and still achieve mastery in that? Does mastery link to talent, natural born talents? Do you think so?
Well, it's a two-sided thing, right? It could boil down to talent, and then it could also boil down to hard work, right? Um, I've heard and I've read biographies of some footballers who did not, in quotes, have the talent while growing up, right? And they have met a lot of scouts and they were rejected, you know. But then with hard work, with proper coaching, with having mentors to guide them, they reached the pinnacle of their careers. And there are some who are talented. You just see this guy and know that this person can play football, you know. So it took those kind of persons just a little while before they could get to that point of mastery. So if you necessarily do not have that talent, you need to put in more work in order to get to the point where you can be considered a master of that particular field.
Okay. So do you think looking at our passion, right? Do you think is a necessity in determining whatever area it is I want to focus and build mastery at? Do you think so?
Passion is important because, like I said before, you need to find what drives you and you need to be passionate about that thing that drives you. Once you lose your passion, once you lose that fuel of what is driving you to become a master, then you've lost it. So you need that passion, you need that drive. Very, very key in attaining mastery.
Okay, so in the first week of this topic, while Dr. Kayode was teaching us, he made mention how that there are some certain conditions that brings out the best in us.
Yeah.
One is competition, another is fear of loss, setbacks, victory, and then having someone who believes in you and having a point to prove.
Yeah.
Now, so when we look at competition, because I believe there's the healthy aspect of competition and then there is the unhealthy aspect of competition. Now, how do we know, or where do you think we should put the line or draw the line when it comes to using competition as an enabling environment to build mastery?
Okay, I'll keep referring to football because it's something that I I know very well, and it's something that I've seen some of these things play out. You could be in a football team where um, a lot of the players are good, and as a coach, you need to create a balance. Who plays, who does not play, because of course you cannot field in all your players. It has to be 22 players, right? So every position you'd have at least two footballers, two players vying to always play week in, week out. And so there ought to be a competition between these guys so that you can bring out the best in them. So it gets to a point where if I am selected to play, I have to put in my best if I want to play the following week. So if I don't put in my best, then someone else will have to take my place. And if that person puts in his best, he keeps his place. So I feel when it comes to producing the best in us, sometimes it differs with individuals, but when it comes to competition, it's key because you just see it as a motivation. You just see yourself as motivating each other. I remember then when I was in secondary school, there was this my friend. His name is Bito, right? So there was this term he came first. The next term I came first. So there was this healthy competition, not like. And then when we do not know something, we share ideas. So that competition produced the best, you know.
Okay, so you say you share ideas,
Yeah.
because there's this ideology, or there's this mindset an average African has. I don't want you to, go further than me, and I think that's the aspect I'm talking about when I talk about unhealthy competition. We need to learn when to draw the line.
Yeah, true.
So even if competition produces the best, but like I said, there are unhealthy competitions, right? And then they could be toxic in nature.
Yeah, there's a point where competition could go to the point of envy, and when it gets to that point of envy, you are going to lose some form of concentration, right? Even for you yourself, you wouldn't be as focused and free spirited as you ought to be. So there ought to be, if competition is something that produces the best in us, then you need to always check ourselves. Is it in a good way? Is it in a positive way? Because we need to be very careful so we do not go to the negative side of competition.
Okay. So I'm also aware that for you to be able to understand exactly what environment produces the best version of you, there is a need for you to come to that moment called the moment of truth.
Yeah.
With yourself. And then most likely an average person is not likely to get to that point. What do you think, what method do you think can be employed, right? Okay, so we're trying to lecture the youth, we're trying to bring younger generation into self-mastery, right?
Yeah.
So what method do you think is best, or how do you think we can bring people to that point of realization where they can really, because for me now, if not for that teaching, I wouldn't have known. You understand?
Yeah.
Yes. And then after the lecture, I had some few experiences, that, really iterated that point to me that, no, this is the condition that produces the best version of you. That's because, thankfully, we're taught by Dr. Coyote. So for many out there, what do you think, what method, some might not even have access to this teaching, but what method do you think you can suggest to make people come to that point, where they get to that point of truth with themselves?
Well, if you don't try, you may never know. So you have to keep trying. If there is anything that you are into, you just have to keep trying, and if you win and you see that, oh, if I win, it gives me more motivation to even do better and win more, fine. But then if you get to a point where you have been trying, and then when you have a setback, that setback motivates you to keep on moving forward. So some of these things you would not know if you are afraid of trying something new. You would not know if you are afraid of relating with people, right?
Yeah.
For some who what produces the best in them is someone who believes in them. You ought to surround yourself with people who tell you positive things, not like people that lie to you, but people who see the best in you and tell you that, okay, this is what I'm expecting from you. This is what I feel you can do. So when you surround yourself with positive people, they can, in a way, make you realize that, oh, I think this is the best thing that can bring out a lot of things in me.
Yeah, I think that will lead us to the next question that Dr. Kayode taught us. Who do you speak to the most when you are losing? Now, so you see, we have a generation that we're too full of ourselves. The younger ones don't want to learn from those who are already ahead. Permit me to bring this in. There's this place in the scriptures, right, that talks about the story of the son of Solomon, King Solomon.
Yeah.
Right. When he became king, right, the elders of the land came to him and say, "See, your father these made things very hard, tough for us. So, but you, what will you do for us?" And then he told them to go and come back in maybe 3 days, right? And within that 3 days, he also went back to consult
The youth.
the youth, even after receiving advice from the elders to give them, peaceable words. But he turned out to follow the advice of people who are in his generation.
Yeah.
And then we have that still playing out in our dispensation, because we want to speak to people who we think can understand our flow. Meanwhile, there are wisdoms to glean from those who have gone ahead. So who do we speak to when we are losing? So what would you advise, right? How do you think, listening to our generation, because we cannot say everybody within our cycle are not wise enough to also give us advice. How do you think we can blend, or if you find yourself in a situation where the advice the elderly one is giving to you is not wrong and is not also maybe totally what you think you want to do, and then the advice the younger one who is in your generation is giving to you, you are tempted because there's this feeling that it might work. What do you advise such a person to do? Do you think we can blend, both advices together? But for me, I really think if you're going or picking a choice, follow it. But what would you advise in such a situation? I'm in a situation, the elders have advised, right? People, have gone ahead of advice, and then I'm also receiving advice from people around, me at my level. What do you think I should do if I find myself in that situation?
Okay, sometimes I get to believe that wisdom, it's not about age, right? It's about what you have fed your mind with. It's about how your mind has been transformed with the requisite knowledge. So for me, it depends on what the issues I have, right? I remember there was a time I wanted to make a very, very important decision. I remember speaking to some of my classmates, about 2 of them. I remember speaking to somebody that had graduated like 10 years before me, just to let me hear from this side, let me hear from this side, and then I just bring it together and then just make a choice, right? So it depends on your cycle as well, right? Who are your friends? For me, I see nothing wrong with speaking to people of my age, people of my level, provided they have demonstrated some level of expertise in the area which I'm seeking advice from. So that's why I said it's not just about age, but it's about somebody who has demonstrated excellence in that particular area sometimes.
Okay, thank you. So, while we started this meeting, you spoke about how that consistency is very key when it comes to building math. We're in the meeting with Dr. Kayode, some time ago, and then someone asked the question, "Sir, how can I be consistent, with doing something right?" And then, the answer he gave sounded a bit funny, but think and ponder over it. You know what he said? He said, "Don't hang around stupid people." Did you hear the question? How do I become consistent in doing something right? The response is, don't hang around stupid people. So I really feel that one of the problems or challenges we face in as we develop our path through to the top, right, in mastery, is consistency, lack of consistency. So what do you think can be done to this matter of consistency? Because first, if it's not internally generated, you have to depend on external forces to help you build consistency to it can now become self-generated. What do you think can help us get to that point on time to build, in building consistency while we work our way through to the path of mastery?
A successful man is one that has come to a point of self-leadership. Self-leadership, I mean, you are able to detect what is right, irrespective of how you feel. Someone said that in the short term, you are as good as your intensity, but in the long term, you are as good as your consistency. So
Can you repeat that again? In a short
in a
term,
short term, you are as good as the intensity or as your intensity, but in the long term, you are as good as your consistency. So sometimes we just wake up one morning and we are fired up to do something and we continue for like 2 or 3 days and we stop. And then after like a month or two, we are fired up again and then there's this intensity of action for another 2 days, 3 days, and then you come to a halt. But then when it comes to the long term, if you want to achieve mastery, regardless of the workload, you just have to make sure you are doing something every day. I remember when I started learning data analysis, it got to a point I was discouraged because there were certain things that were looking so ambiguous to me, and I was like, what is all this? I felt I looked at visualizations and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. So I felt data analysis was something that I could just go, now as a vet student, then regardless of the workload, TDB can just fire you up. And then, so I looked at it and I got discouraged, right? And it came to a point I left it. But when I came back, I told myself, even if it is 10 minutes a day, I'm going to do something about data analysis, even if it's just 10 minutes. So at that time, 10 minutes looked something very small, right? But I had to trick my mind. So, but then I never spent less than 10 minutes. So the days I felt, okay, let me do something for 10 minutes. When I start, I end up spending sometimes 30 minutes, 45 minutes, sometimes even 2 hours. But I gave myself that limit. I must do something every day about data analysis for just 10 minutes.
Consistency, while Dr. Kayode was speaking about consistency, he said we must expand the list of our enemies to include ourselves. Because I believe only you can stop you, actually.
Sure.
Yeah, only you can stop you. And I think that's one of the major points in this journey of building self-mastery. Once you can conquer you, nothing else can defeat you. Once I can conquer myself. So because most times when they say we should list our enemies, we can call so and so person, my boss in the office, blah. We can give so many lists of people we consider to be enemies, and then we usually forget to include ourselves because primarily we are the only person who can stop us from achieving mastery. So I want to ask, right now, like you say, in building consistency, there is a need to not necessarily start in that big way. Most of us, like I feel, we want to, if it's not 4 hours, you think you've not done something. And I think that particular factor is responsible for why many persons has not yet built consistency in something. Because we want to do 4 hours at a go. We want to do 5 hours. If you have not spent 5 hours on something, you think you have not done anything. But imagine, has it happened to you before? You did not lock your tap properly, and then there's a bucket there, an empty bucket, and it's just dropping.
After some few hours,
the bucket is halfway, and that's the power of consistency. So, how do you think we can shape our mindset, right, to get to that point of being convenient with starting little? Just start little. No matter how many minutes it is, start something. Start little. What do you think we can do to help our mindset? Because most of us will not be comfortable if we have not spent hours, right? So how do you think we can get to become comfortable, with giving few minutes but consistent? Because you will not feel good. I mean, I spent 5 minutes doing something. Imagine me saying I spent 5 minutes, studying data analysis course. It doesn't make sense to me now, like 5 minutes. In fact, if you share that with somebody outside, you might think you're not a serious person. Because I want to hear you say I spent 3 hours on a daily basis, doing something on data analysis. How can we become comfortable with spending few minutes at least, and then, build consistency on that?
I decided on spending at least 10 minutes because when I took a break from data analysis, I came back after about a month. There were so many basics that I forgot. A lot of basic things, a lot of basic functions in Excel that I couldn't remember again because I'd left it for that time. And that was when I said, no, 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 I'm not going to leave it. When it comes to consistency, you have to master the simple things. You have to master the foundational things, right? So when you master the foundational things, you can now start building and building and building on them. So one of the things that frustrates people sometimes is they don't want to start small. They don't want to start. Some people don't even start from the foundation. They start from. I remember a friend I wanted to do the analysis. After 1 week in Excel, this guy said he wants to start dashboards. He wants to start building dashboard. He wants to go into Python. He wants to go into SQL. And I'm like, calm down. Learn the basics first. Because if you don't learn the basics and you go on to the next level, you get frustrated. You get confused.
Yeah,
And then it will just bring you to the point of, oh, I don't think I'm interested in this. But meanwhile, the foundation is not correct. So I feel the foundation is important when it comes to the issue of gaining mastery, because once the foundation is right, once the drive is right, you are going to just keep building and building and building on them.
Yeah, and I think, right, that there's something about consistency and then following the path of, from the foundation rather, building up. I think it cultivates a particular habit in you that you will naturally continue with even when you become a master. For instance, if I'm used to during my learning days, if I'm used to giving 30 minutes to learning a particular thing, when I become a master at that thing, do you know that there are still more tendencies that I will continue with that drill of 30 minutes? I don't know if you know.
I get.
There's still more. So I think those things we do at the foundational stage of starting something has a way of building a particular culture in us that we might most likely continue with over time as we continue to gain mastery in that. So, Mr. Olade was with us, virtually though, and then he taught us about distraction. Distraction being a very major, a very major setback to building consistency. He said something. He said, where you are going to is not far. Is that we're too many places.
Yeah.
We're branching. There are too many. We call them, there's something they call them side attraction, but in real sense, they are actually side distraction. And then if there's anything I've really learned, in this, series on, gaining mastery, is that you must learn to focus. The keyword focus cannot be lost at any point when it comes to building mastery. What do you have to say about that? Focus.
I got a quote when I was in 300 level or 400 level and said that something is good does not make it right. So the things that distract us most times are good things. The things that shift our focus from the major thing that we are supposed to pursue are sometimes good things. So when it comes to focus, one thing that we need to understand is you need to break down. I think you talked about goals, right? You need to break your goals down into short-term goals, long-term goals. So if you have short-term goals vis-a-vis long-term goals, it's easier for you to be focused because, okay, I think achieving this short-term goal would keep you focused, and then you'd want to just achieve it quickly, and then you move to the next. But then when you just set your eyes on just the long-term goals without having short-term goals, it's going to be easier for you to be distracted. So focus, again, it still boils down to your drive, the why, what drives you. Once what drives you it's embedded in your heart, if what drives you is understood, trust me, it will be difficult for you to be distracted. You may be distracted, but it will still bring you back on track that no, you are missing the way. You need to come back to track and then keep focused.
I think a lot of persons will have to wear their vision board, always.
Yeah, and I think Dr. Kai also mentioned that he had to write it down, some in his notes. He had to place the pictures of some of his idols, and some of his mentors that he was looking up to. When you have your vision written down, when you have it close to you and you visit them regularly, it keeps you focused. It's not your vision is not something that you just look at it from the first day when it was birthed and then you just keep moving without. No, you need to come back and look at it, and then the more times you keep looking at it, the more you keep getting inspiration, the more you keep getting insights on how best to go about it. So it's important that to remain focused, you need to write your vision down. You need to have reminders about your vision. You need to have timelines about your vision.
Yeah. All right. So for time's sake, there's just one point I want us to just discuss before we wrap up. Dr. Kayode said something last week. He said, there are so many loaded guns out there aiming at nothing. That word is powerful. That phrase is key. So many loaded guns aiming at nothing. Because I believe that the goal of self-mastery, right, is that we get to a point where we can become pointers. Just like consistency. There's something about consistency.
Yeah.
Once you are consistent, you have the capacity to give others direction. For instance, the sun has been consistent.
Yeah.
And because the sun is consistent, so it gives us direction. I mean, when the Muslim faithful wants to pray, they know where to look at.
Yeah.
Because the sun has been consistent. Imagine the sun not coming up for 3 days. Ever since the sun has been consistent. Now, so the goal of consistency and mastery is that we get to a point where we can begin to give others direction. So, but how do we handle those who have risen to the top of their game and are not impacting the next generation?
Well, everybody has how will I put it now? Everybody has their goals, right? Again, impact is not something we measure sometimes with quantity, right? Sometimes impact should also be measured with quality. For some, they may not want to mentor, they will not want to carry a whole number of persons along. For some, they are just okay with making sure that 2, 3, 4, 5 persons are impacted by their level of mastery or by their successes. But then there are others who have the passion to, as much as my strength can carry, I'm going to impact hundreds and thousands of people, right? So I feel the goal is not just the number of persons you impact. The goal is one life at a time. If you are able to impact one person, fine. If you're able to impact 2 persons, 3 persons, that's still okay.
So, but the mindset to want to impact the younger ones should be there.
Yeah, should definitely, because no master would be happy to die with their mastery. They would always want to replicate that particular thing that they are masters with into the younger generation.
Just like John C. Maxwell advising that the 5 level of leadership, right? So, all right. Thank you so very much, Dr. Eben. I believe that thus far we have learned a lot in this series of self-mastery. And then, you see, learning is not enough, right? You must be able to practice what you've learned. And then don't forget, it's not a crime and it's not a sin to start little. You can start from where you are. If it's 5 minutes, you can dedicate every day to something. But just make sure you keep consistency. It doesn't matter the length of time for now. Keep consistency. Start from where you are. And I can tell you, as you continue in that path, shortly, very soon, you will soon be a master in that particular field. Until next time, I remain fed. See you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Fed and Dr. Eben, for that amazing section. And that was an amazing summary on the mastery we've had for 4 weeks now. So I'm just here to give like a testimonial. The impact the sections has had on me. So the first thing I would just want to make emphasis on would be on the line of, so we had a section where we discussed competence, and we had like 4 specific aspects of competence. And I had to, first of all, analyze to know where I was. And I saw that I was in between the conscious and unconscious competence. So imagine someone being in between. So the reason I said I'm in between is because my focus at the moment is practicing and getting access into people who have gone quite far ahead of me, and trying to see how I am much more consistent in what I'm doing. So I'm going to break it down to how the sections particularly impacted me. So the first one is I had to, so there's one thing I do daily, a question I ask myself, and I think I've asked that question on this section. I usually ask myself, and I tell people, for me, consistency, the way I see consistency is this: ensure that daily you're doing something that takes you closer to your goal. So it's something that has been ongoing for me, but through this section, I had to now look deep to see how can I actually become more intentional and ensure that the mastery in the area that I'm looking at is fully built. So when I started the whole daily goals, what I did was I ensured that I had 30, while I was in school, I had 15 minutes, 100 level, I moved to 30 minutes. But now, daily, I know that no matter how engaged I am, I have 1 hour that I must really focus on mastery. And mastery for me is in the line of social development, and I still have a niche in the line of inclusion. So what I did when I learned some of the strategies that has really worked for Dr. Kayode was, so before now, after noting what I do daily, so I have like a to-do list that works for me daily, and at the end of the day, I get to check to see have I actually achieved everything that I need to achieve for that day. So as I'm talking to you, I have that of today already written, of course, since morning. And as I was coming, I was still looking at it to see, am I already meeting my targets for the day? But then what I now had to do for that was, because he answered one question, he said that he drew a table checking what his, those who have gone ahead of him were doing to see what he wasn't doing well. So I saw that that's one thing I've not intentionally done. And I did that. I think it was like the 3rd week. I did that. And just in 1 week, by doing that, I saw a level of shift that I had not experienced. So you'll be wondering what kind of shift. So before now, I've not been intentional with the way I pitch my idea. So I remember Dr. Nancy was telling me one day, Praise, you don't tell people what you do so much. Right? So within that 1 week, when I drew that table, I saw that when they started, these were people, because I went through their documentaries for some of them. These were people who were intentional about talking about what they do. So in that 1 week, because I keenly had to look at that, I was able to do, so I have like a master 1-minute pitch. Like if you call me today and ask, tell me about what you do in 1 minute, not just saying it as I'm talking to you, but then I have it crafted. So it's like in a video format, so that I'm not caught off guard. Maybe an investor reaches out to me, can you send me your 1-minute pitch video about your project or anything? So I have it in my drive, so I can just send it. So that was one thing that was really key. And just that same week, upon sending it to one of the persons who asked, I didn't even know something like that was going to come up. We've gotten to like the stage 2 of an application, right? So that application is like for a grant, not the one I've been sharing around. That's something different. But this one was a personal one, which I've not even shared anywhere. But we are currently in stage 3, and we believe that it will pull through. So that's one key thing I did that was really groundbreaking for me. So the next one I will just talk about, so I don't take so much of our time, is, so now I daily measure my progress, the progress of my goal. So like I said, I already have like my to-do list for the day, and I evaluate at the end of the day if I've done this and not. But one thing I've not been doing before now, which I learned on the line of mastery, is you evaluating what you did all through the day. So if I have like 10 things I listed out for the day, you're talking about mastery, and we've been talking about distractions, right? So if you look at the list and 5/10 of what you did is not related to the line of mastery you're trying to build, then you're not ready. So I went back to look at, because since I do that daily, it means like I have like a pile of books of what I've been doing daily, right? I went back and I saw that 5/10 wasn't focused on the line I was trying to build. I said, wow. So you see, it means that I've actually been distracted, even if sometimes we may not want to call it distraction, but that's actually it. So now I've been able to refine my to-do list and ensure that I am focused on mastery. And for me now, I think doctor said he said 4 years, but I'm giving myself 2 years. So between 2 to 3 years, I'm going to get to a significant age, and I'm not going to mention that. For me, getting to that age is one thing I've really looked forward to building so much, to the point that I'm consulting for people, consulting with organizations like the WHO in the line of my mastery. So I'm giving myself within 2 years so to build my mastery in that line specifically. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'll just quickly, in 3 minutes, just share a few things that got to me these few weeks of coming over here. What Dr. Femi Kayode had to share. All through my undergraduate days, a lot of things drove me, right? I had passion for a whole lot of things. I had passion for outreaches. I had passion for leadership. I had passion for taking initiative. I had passion for trying new things, being adventurous, right? But then, during the course of this series, I began to ask myself, what exactly drives me? What exactly drives me? We can be known for a whole lot of things, but there ought to be something that drives you. There ought to be that particular thing that drives you. And I began to ask myself those questions. For like 2-3 weeks, I could not get an answer. I could not get a pinpoint answer that, okay, this is the exact thing that drives me, But then during the course of the mastery class, I began to narrow down. I began to narrow down my choices. I began to narrow down the things that I felt were driving me. And I'm sure that I'm making progress. And very soon I'm going to just get to that level that I want. But so far, so good. It has been a blessing to me. And one of that thing again, one of that question, or one of that statement that Dr. Femi Kayode made, that I wouldn't say every day, but let me just say in 2 days or twice in 3 days, that always reflects in my mind is set an age. Just set an age. If at 40, what regrets will I have? What regrets will I have? If at 40, what are the things I should have done now that when I'm 40, I wouldn't regret? So I began to ask myself those questions. If when I get to 30, what are those things I am going to regret if I don't start now? I wanted to start data analysis when I was in 400 level, but I felt it was too ambiguous. It was too difficult. Let me focus on veterinary school, But I tell you the truth, if I had started, even if I had spent just 5 minutes a day when I was in 400 level till now, I would have been a pro, I would have been a master. So I began to list some of the regrets I would have if I do not start now. So, and then finally, one of the things he said that I have consciously done is to choose a model. Choose somebody you look up to. Choose somebody that motivates you. Choose somebody that when you see them, when you look at their history, you would be inspired to do more. And I have a list of certain persons that I have chosen already. I remember the first meeting we had, I wrote it down. That was 20th of July, right? The first meeting we had. After that session, I was at the restaurant in Lokogoma here. I was waiting for someone. And while I sat down, I began to reflect. And I wrote something down. I think he said we should write, I can't remember what he said we should write, but he said we should write what we want to become in a few years and send to him, right? Something like that. So I've had passion for politics. And I'm standing here and I'm sharing boldly because it's something that I know will happen. It's something that I know will one day come to pass, right? And it's one of the things that is going to be driving me moving forward. I want to be at the National Assembly in the next 15 years. I've given myself a 15-year plan. 15 years may look long, right? But in 15 years, I will be around 41, 42, And when I was writing it, my hand was shaking, Are you sure you can do politics? Are you sure? I remember one day when we came to see Dr. Femi, when I was a student, Dr. Femi was telling me that, I think that was when he knew that I was SUG Secretary General of Uni Abuja. And he was telling me that, you, this quiet and gentle boy, how did you become SUG? How did you get into SUG? How did you do this? How did you do that? And while I was writing this, I wasn't sure. There was fear. There was this feeling of, this thing you are writing, honestly, you cannot achieve it. This thing you are writing is way bigger than you. This thing you are writing, how are you going to get the funds you're going to need? Because politics, you need funds. How are you going to get the people you're going to need? And I remember the next meeting, Dr. Femi was saying something, and I'm going to round up with that. And he said, just start, right? Just start. Just start. And he now said, if money will be your problem, don't worry, you have people, And I'm excited, hoping, and I'm excited looking at what the future holds in this regard. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by saying thank you to Dr. Kayode for choosing to pour into us. We're really grateful. So I would like to start giving my own testimony, not from this particular series, but from the last series, from SAPA to Surplus. How many of you enjoyed that series? One of the first things that struck my heart is how foolish I have been with spending. At times we think what we need is more money, right? But if only, have a formula, if only you can have a formula with the current, financial capacity that you have a definite formula, you would see how best, you can make use of what you have to still achieve more things. I can boldly say to you that in the last 5 years of my life, last month marked the best time in my life that I spent well. I spent well. I could give you, being a data analyst, one of the first things I did, having learned from him that you have to have a formula for your finance, rather. One of the first things I did was to go and build a dashboard. I have my income section, I have my, expenses section. I have a formula, 100% formula. Okay, so percent will go into, expenses, so percent will go into giving to people, so percent will go into giving to God. I just had it, and then the summation of everything is 100%. And I discovered that immediately I began to, so once I just, impute my income into that Excel sheet, it just splits it. So I know that, oh, this is how much I have to spend. And I gave more. I was more comfortable. I was really more comfortable financially, even though I might not have gotten much income last month as compared to other months, but I still spent more better. I had cash almost every time in my hands. I did not run out of cash. He taught us that it's foolishness to spend everything to last year. The second thing I did was that, because he taught us about 3 kinds of income you must have, right? Do you remember? The active income, the passive income, and then the portfolio income, right? So the active income will be your day-to-day job, what you're actively doing and then earning from, right? The passive income is like a side business, Abby, and then the portfolio income is something for the future, right? So what did I do? Okay, so I decided to start something very small, and then it's working for my passive income. And then the next thing is I decided to buy a course on how to invest in the Nigerian stock exchange, and then I began to invest in it. And as I speak to you now, at least I've bought shares of about 7 to 8 companies by myself, and I monitor it on my phone basically every day. So for me, that's a plus, because that would not have been possible if I had spent money with the mindset I used to spend before. So thank you so very much for that, sir. So my finance has changed. My approach to seeing finance has really, really, really changed. And so to this month's series, the part of mastery, right? Unleashing mastery. One of the things that happened to me in this series is not too many, but one of the main things that happened to me is that I've been able now to streamline my life into just 2 things. One day I was having a conversation with someone here, and then it didn't pain me, actually. He didn't know that he pained me, because he was going to define me in a sheet of paper, and then he drew many channels, say, Fed, I know you as this, Fed, I know you as that, Fed, about 7, 8 things. I'm like, is that how confused you think I am? But one thing that's happened to me, this journey of mastery, is that I can well tell you that I have just 2 focuses. And 2. And that's what I will be pursuing. I was talking to Dr. Kayode. I said, even 8 years is not, for the next 8 years, I'm going to give myself to this thing until I become, a superstar in that field. So once again, thank you so very much, Dr. Kayode, for choosing to pour into us. All right.
I know you're laughing. Good afternoon, everybody. So, for me, we're always doing the same. So the best way I concentrate more in getting it set, right? The online thing and everything. So whenever I go home, I'm open to do the snippet. So watch the video over and over again. And one funny thing I did was I converted all of them to audio. Although I shared one with him, he was surprised. I converted all of them to audio for myself. And I started listening to it. So, in this whole thing, it's not just to hear, right? It's also to do what you heard. So, I think doctor is aware. There was a time I was a bit stressed, and it's not like me then. If I'm stressed, the thing will just finish me like that. But this one, I think he noticed I was stressed. He called me, and what's the problem? I just gave him a few things. But the interesting part was the moment we finished speaking, he said, "Okay, if the matter has gotten out of hand, you could reach out to me and all." So I didn't reach out to you, right? So I listened to the audio again, like Mr. Fair rightly said, Sakpa to surplus. I listened to it again, and immediately I picked. Like I just told myself, "Not kill yourself. If you carry all these things on your head, you will just." So I sat down, I said, so all these things I'm carrying, if I keep carrying it like this, when will I become that person I want to be? Then there was a series we had that Mr. Lord said, and that was really deep. He said, where we are going is not far. It's because of all the me, I've done plenty stops. You try this one, you try that one, you try this. So last month, I just stopped some few things I was doing. No, this thing will to not work. Stop it. Focus on what you really want to achieve. And I've seen some significant change in my life as well. Now, before you can call Jerry and say, I have this. As I'm doing that one, you call me for another one. I'll just focus on this. So now, I decide to start taking things one step at a time. If you give me a lot of deliverables, I pick this one. I ensure I do it and get it well. Once I'm done with it, I pick another one. Before, I was not like that. I was a bit scattered. I can do this, and I will not do it well. I will not pay attention to it. So now, I sit down, I look at it, because what I do presently, it requires a lot of detail. You have to be detailed to it, because any small thing would just spoil the work. So deliberately, I started focus. No, most of the snippets, I always do the part that has focus, because because I'm indirectly talking to myself. Focus. So it keeps, for me, this has really impacted more in my life. Like I said, and I will advise that, although I will make it also what my secret, I will also share the audios, right, on the group, so that we could all listen to it. I'll share it according to the Sundays, so that we could all listen to it over. I listen to it in the night. My wife is used to it. I just and listen to it. Sometimes I sleep off, but I try as much as possible to pick one or two things. I have a board in my room. When I just catch one rema out of the thing, I'll just write it. So, funny enough, most of the things he used that puts the person you look up to on the wall and do that, right? So I started doing it. So mine is not print. I just write a lot of things I know I want to achieve in my life. I just say it. I will earn in dollar. I will earn in foreign currency. I'll be a big man. I keep saying it to myself every morning. Jerry, you'll be this. Jerry, you'll be that. Jerry, you'll be this. Jerry, even being detailed, I added it. You'll be detailed. Jerry, you'll be that. And I see myself gradually doing most of these things. I'm not yet a big man, but I know I will be a big man. Thank you very much.
So good afternoon, everyone. So thank you very much for everything. So my testimony is how well this meeting has impacted on my thoughts. So usually I used to be someone that I think, and when I think, I'm constantly thinking about my dad, because my dad used to be my superhero, and he was a very hardworking man. But not to sound disrespectful, but I did say he never amounted to anything, because for as much as I could remember, we were always struggling to eat, struggling for daily consistency and all of that. So constantly, whenever I'm thinking about where did he get it wrong, what were his mistakes and all of that. But from this mastery class, I've been able to change my thought pattern. I no longer worry about where he got it wrong or so now what I think about is, how do I become all those things he never became? You know, how do I, that person I have always wanted to be, how do I become that person? And I've seen myself change in no small way. Also, to talk about the SAPA to surplus, that was a life changer. And I've been able to save. Though I've always been someone who has that habit of saving because I learned it from my mom. But then I was able to do it in a more organized way, and looking back at that, your savings account and seeing it grow, that joy that comes with it. So I really want to appreciate you, sir, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm very happy, and I feel extremely very privileged to be part of our lives. Like, it's humbling, right? To see that our lives could be better just by sharing thoughts and ideas that could, as some of us has put it, could be life transforming. One of the, and this might be strange to say, but I believe it, we are not dust, we are words. I said something on TEDx, and they didn't want to post the video. And the reason why they didn't want to post the video was because TEDx got back to the people who organized the TEDx show that they cannot scientifically substantiate what I just put out, that the brain needs a hero. So the brain needs protein, the brain needs a hero. So, but again, I don't know how the organizers got over that thought and they published it on TEDx. So this also, you might fact check, and science will not pick it up, but just take it the way, literally, maybe don't take it literally, take it more as figurative. That the makeup of us are words. I can literally recreate somebody by communicating a different thought to him or her. Let me explain. So again, what are the difference between people? I know we want to say thoughts, yes, thoughts, but thoughts are a product of words, right? There are some words I will say in this place that will get some of us angry. There are some words I will say that will make us laugh, right? Let's assume I'm a joker and I crack a joke. Most of you are not laughing now, but with the joke, you can all laugh. Is that correct? So, the way electronic signals are transferred that causes a reaction in another location, that's the same way words are transferred. But more importantly, when it gets to somebody, that word has the ability to recreate the person. So, one of the person who changed me fundamentally in my early days is Sam Adeyemi. Right. The way Jerry said he listens to the audio,
That was how I was waking up, sleeping, and listening to Sam. I listened to some other persons, but Sam, I stuck with Sam for a long time. And even up till now, I still listen to Sam. I wish wherever he is, he is in Lagos this morning because he was the one who spoke at their service. I wish wherever he is, he will know that there's a life somewhere that he least know anything about that has been completely changed. You know, I know I will have the opportunity to meet him very soon, and then I will tell him that it was his life that changed my life. Right? I'm eager to tell him that. So, and you know, just as my mother said at my 40th birthday, that I used to help her to hawk. So that's correct. That's correct. So we're in the market, she was cooking, and then we go out, put, then it was this Santana leather you tie with water, make it cold, and then go around to sell. So, and these days, I see people pass, and the only thought sometimes I have, like, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, I just saw a man, good looking, passing, but there was a lot of stress on his face. And this desire came up, like I should say something to him and let him know that you can have stress today and tomorrow you can be worth 10 billion. Like, you just wake up. While the testimonials were going on, I was doing a few research. This lady still came up to my mind. At 26, that's the owner of Canva. After 5 years of pitching to investors, facing countless rejection, and pivoting engineers, the team finally launched the platform in 2013. Melanie Parkin was only 26 years old when she became CEO and co-founder of Canva. So at 26, after 5 years of pitching, talking, she eventually launched in 2013. At 26, became the CEO. Today, if you Google, no, there's also another article that I opened that I won't quickly read. It took Melanie Parkin 100 plus rejection over 3 years to give life to design platform Canva. 100 plus rejection to give life, and 3 years, over 3 years, to just breathe life on Canva. Then today, if you Google her name, her profile comes up, and then they tell you she was born 13th May 1987. She's age 37, net worth $4.4 billion US. The same you struggling with the right combination of words can be published as Africa's richest man. The same you. You don't need to change your complexion. You don't need to change your hairstyle. You don't need to change anything. You just need to pay attention to the combination of words that you have access to. Lives can literally change with the right word consistently listened to. With over 100 plus rejection, going from pillar to post, pitching her idea, but just staying at it, she emerged a master. Everybody now uses Canva. Let me Google how many people uses Canva. How many people? How many? Can somebody quickly go? How many people uses Canva? Canva community currently has 130 million active users as of 2024. Your life, 170 million active users. Your life can be more, given time and the right words. Isn't that just exciting? Isn't that just exciting? That one day I will Google Dr. Zainab Abla-Ibiu. I will just see net worth, $44 trillion. Hey! I'll just see $44 trillion. In another 10 to 20 years, they will be googling our name. And all I'm asking for is that we've had countless stories of people at the back who came to the forefront. And your name could be one. 10 years, not too far. He said in 15 years he will be at the National Assembly. Miracles happen over time. Same. So I got home yesterday and then I saw something unusual. I saw some funny pictures on my bed. I didn't know that my wife and my children spent time going over all our pictures. So when I saw those ones, I got interested. Then fortunately for me, I saw the pack of all our photos. So I started going through it. Then I remember when I was a core member, 2008. I saw some funny pictures. When I was done, I became grateful. I haven't changed stature-wise that much. The only thing now is that I'm Bab Korambolo. Then I was keeping a little hair. I haven't really changed in terms of stature. But in terms of learning and in terms of where I am today, quite a lot has changed. So I was sending a message to somebody. I said, I can't wait for the next 20 years and I will look back to this picture. Look back to our pictures of farmer life. And then you will also be very grateful. Because by that time, some people, there are pictures you need to keep. Some people, I went for a meeting, and somebody said I was lucky. Right. Yes. I'm lucky. I'm honestly lucky. I don't really, because a few things happen and then of course luck, right? But some people will never believe you struggled. So archive those pictures. Archive them. Snap them. When you look slim, because there's somebody that's very popular now, is a preacher, Apostle Selman. You need to go back and look at his pictures while he was in school. And we all had access to those pictures because I knew him, right? Some people will think that you are just lucky. So you accept that luck, you thank God for it. But you knew that sometimes around the change that happened in your life were the right set of words. I don't joke with the right set of words. Because if words can create, I would rather be listening to the right set of words so that it can create a better me. Right. "10, 20 years will come. And you will need to decide if your name, you see, we are just googling because Google has, in another 10 years, you will not need to Google. You just say, which name should I call now? Asika Onyeka. Your picture will just come up. And all the picture you have online, Mark is creating a eyeglass now. So things will change. Internet will be inside of us or inside our brain. So people will not be googling you. Once your name is just mention all your history, and ensure that when your history shows up, it's an inspiring one. I want to plead with us in this mastery. We're going to wrap up today. Don't give up on yourself. A better you will emerge. Is that correct? And don't worry about the struggles. Don't worry about the struggles at all that you cannot eat today. Luckily, some people have started saving. Let's even say you have crashed your savings again because problems came in that is beyond what you can bear. Don't worry. My life has always been, somebody came in around me a few years ago when I was still in school, and the person said, he's smoking, he doesn't want to smoke. I said, don't worry. Don't worry. In fact, finish smoking and still come. Because in some of our religions, smoking is a sin, right? So I said, don't worry. In fact, if you feel the urge to smoke before you come, smoke it and come. Why do and it has always worked for me. Because the more you come in contact with something that is light, darkness will keep giving way. You might not be able to change way overnight. I can assure you that this small 1-2 months that we've spent together, even if you have not changed physically or your account balance has not changed, something has changed. Because it is first of all internal before it is external. You know how long I've been jacking book? Been jacking those since. The first of all change internal. And once the structure is made internally, it will show up in your physical reality. So let me, as a way of rounding up, I will quickly recap in another 15 minutes. Why do I recap? The first time when we started this meeting, I had different colors. How many of us remember that series? I had different color in a glass cup. And then we kept pouring up until the color inside changes. Repetition is a powerful thing. When I come out and I tell you I've read the book more than 20 times, it's because the power is in our subconscious. I'm reading a book, Strategy of War, currently. And one of the fundamental truths the book is teaching me is that your mind is weaker than your emotion. He said, your mind is weaker than your emotion. And the book illustrated on how you could train your emotion, right? Discipline, etc. But that sentence struck me for a while because I'd always thought that our mind is like the ultimate. But your mind is still in the conscious realm. There's a subconscious mind called emotion. I think that's why, because in battle, can you ever imagine you fighting a battle with knife? And you see all those olden days battle now, they fight with knife and dagger. And they still run to each other. Ka, 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 ka. If I come out with a sharp knife like this, will you stand? You will not. Because over the years, when strategy of war changed, we've been made to fear machete. So you could be in the middle of war. Once the emotion of fear comes in, you lose the battle. So there is a subconscious part of you, or there's an emotional part of you that you will need to stock with the right things. So that when it matters, subconsciously you bring out the right answer. So, recapping, repetition is a powerful word. When Uncle Jerry said he wants to listen to the audio all over again, I've done that countless number of times. Because I know for everything I've said, it's not everything that has sunk in. I know. So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes between now and 4:30 and recap. Then I will drop the final word. You will permit me to be a little bit biased today because I'm going to tie mastery to something I'm passionate about. That's the growth of our country. We're going to be October 1st, we're going to be 64, right? I want to tie this mastery series for the last 30 minutes to something really that drives me, really. So when we started this series about our educational system, by the time I finished with that series, I asked Uncle Jerry, and he made mention that probably that part of history is boring. So I might not talk about it again, but you will have to understand that the history of our educational system has made elephant and monkey. Just understand the story. I'm not going to go back to John D. Rockefeller, etc. Has made elephant and monkey to face the same exam of climbing a tree. And each time that happens, and it has happened to you, because all of us here, most of us here are graduates, or maybe all of us, I can't really say, right? You have been through a system where judgments are passed on a similar scale. If nothing in you kicks against that system, it means you have conformed to that system. So, people have forgotten their genius because of a system. And that system was created specifically for the Industrial Revolution. You cannot go and say this camera. Hope you know that just look at it. For things that have been invented, whoever will believe 30, 40 years ago that you will be talking here and another person in London will be hearing? When phone came up and I had one in my pocket and the thing vibrated, did any one of us have that experience? Because all in your life you've never seen something vibrate in your body. I remember that first time I kept one in my pocket in one of my friends' phone, and the thing vibrated, and I jumped out like something was going to happen to me, not knowing that phone vibrates. Now it vibrates in our pocket. We just know that somebody's calling me, but you continue what you are doing. You have been schooled to make the vibration of that phone to be normal. That's what they call conditioning. So it will take you a measure of self-awareness not to score yourself like your lecturer scored you. To take. There's a unique path of you that you need to start studying and paying attention to. Once you find that path, what we are all saying is that even if that path is not clear, just keep going. Clarity comes with you taking that journey. You try this, doesn't work, try this, and paying attention to yourself. Oh, no, I'm good at this, I'm not good at this. And focus on it. For some of you, you will have a thought. There's still some thought that I have now. And this is not to make me feel like weak. I was still crying this afternoon before coming here. Right. Why was I crying? Nobody knows except me telling you now. I'm not crying, I was literally crying. I watched something I was telling Uncle Jerry, maybe we will show it. And that's why I wanted to, maybe it's just like 5 minutes, I'll get us to show it. there was a playlet somewhere regarding this country. Our country can be better. Abi? Can be better. What made me cry? Somebody, a pastor of a church, asked people to bring their passport, and they were praying to God to leave this country. Okay, I know you don't understand it. Just imagine you have children. Oh, you are the father of the house. Uncle Jerry, let's say Uncle Jerry, you have 7 children and a wife. And they gathered when you were there, praying to go and stay in Dr. Ralph's house. We have lost, we have lost identity. America was built. We can build this place, maybe. So I don't know whether the clergy or the imams are right praying for people to leave this country. But let's not leave, right? This is the only place we can call home. Huh? Some of you are already planning to leave, right? And I'm not saying don't leave. You leave and come back, okay. One day I was just wishing that once I die, let it be Nigerian flag that they will use on my coffin. But my most emotional moments are when Nigerian athletes win on the world stage and then they use the Nigerian flag to cover themselves. It drives me emotionally. I want to build and be referred to as somebody who was part of the building of Nigeria. This country will work, and we'll all make it work. Is that okay? All right, so I've digressed. Don't let me digress. I'm still summarizing. So we took on the journey and the unique story we shared around Lion King, the story Lion King. And we had this very nice, somebody come in and sing the very nice song to us. But the key question was asked in the song that why wouldn't he be the king I know, the king I see inside? So why wouldn't he be? Please, your name. Abraham, please come. Right. 10 years from now, what will you want to be?
10 years from now?
Yes.
10 years from now, Okay.
Mike, okay.
Okay, so 10 years from now, I want to be fully into human capacity development, where I mentor, train, and teach people, and then I equally want my businesses to be running.
Right, good.
Yeah, that's my consulting firm.
All right. So what I would prefer is that you add, so if you want your business to be running, your business can run in a small scale, Abi? Right. People who are doing money points and they're changing money, their business is running, right? So I want us to be slightly very definite in terms of how we want to see ourselves. There's an image of me I want to see when I'm 50. There's an image of me I want to see when I'm 60. If we're definite, it just helps quite a bit, right? So if you say your business to be running, at what scale, what number, can you attach a number to it?
Okay, I want it to be running, at that point, I want it to be running, I should have had established system and a structure for the business. Although presently I'm running it right now on a very small scale, and I have a WhatsApp platform where I do it. So, but in 10 years' time, I should have a profitable business system and where I should also be impacting lives.
All right, thank you. You can go and sit down. But what I would advise most often is that put definition, be definite around what you want to be, where you want to go in 10, 20 years, right? Dr. Anderson, 10, 20 years. What do you want to see? So again, I want to be recognized as the Dangote in another 20 years, right? That's not a bad idea, right? I got so Dr. Anderson. Yeah.
Yes, I want to see myself in the next 10 years as a very successful businessman in the area I've chosen. To be able to have business and establish business in all parts of this country. That's where I want to see myself. And I think it's one of the testimonies that I missed the opportunity to give. That coming here, what I did was to write down my goal, what I want to do. And I was able to write it down. And so every day when I look at it, it rings in me that this is where I want to be. I have started currently.
Fantastic.
And in that, when I clock 40, and I learned that from you, clocking 40, you already have where you wanted to be. And by God, as God will have it, you are already where you wanted to be.
Thank you.
So in that, by 40, I also want to have an established business that will be leading in billions across this country. Thank you.
Fantastic. So qualify that billion and put a number to it. Put a number to it. On my board, there are specific number for July 2026. Put a number to it so that it's easy to track. So the reason why I'm encouraging this is because there's a king in all of us. And once you place that big vision in front of you, you see, God is a generous God. We pray always to be in His will. He guides, but He also knows that if He puts desire, see, expressing your own desire, I always want to see it is God whispering to you. If it's not His will, for some of us who pray, if it's not His will, He will take out that desire. Take out that desire. If it's His will, and that desire persists, give it expression. Do you know how many families you'll be helping by establishing business across the country? You think God will not be happy with that? So you will have to decide to be the king you all we all need to be. So with this platform or with this summary, I need to hit on two things that are very important before I take off this title. And then we talk about our country, Nigeria. Please, you need to permit me to talk about it. Hey, Uncle Jerry, please, can you turn on the Zoom meeting? It's on? Okay, fantastic. Okay, I just got through. Good. So, the area of consistency. Last week we said the third stage, which is the stage of being consciously competent. We said practice. And I like the fact that most of us have picked up the idea of tracking and tracing our daily activity. That's nice. That's brilliant. That's nice. You will need to keep that up as a habit. So this new week, there are already 3 defined goals that I must achieve these 3 weeks, this new week coming. If you have decided that you want to take or embark on this mastery journey, it will be foolishness not to track your daily activity. Hoping and wishing that in 10 years you will be Dangote is so dumb without doing anything every day that leads you in that light. Next year, one of our businesses will be scaling out of the African country for the first time. Right. A journey to 2030 has been mapped. But if I now say 2030, oh, tomorrow we will be like a unicorn, a $1 billion company by 2030. And then every day I go and play table tennis, and I like playing table tennis these days for my health, right? And I skip work to play table tennis. I skip a week to sleep and play table tennis. Where will I be? Is table tennis? That's the destination I'm taking. See, your day-to-day activity, your second-to-second activity, your 1 hour to 1 hour activity is leading you to where you are going. So if you check your activity for last week and nothing strongly indicates any palpable decision based on where you're going, then you're only deceiving yourself. So if you've chosen, you want to do business, stay on podcasts of people who have done business. There's this, and that's where we started from. By listening to people who are doing something there, you are imbibing their heart and their thoughts, and you will reproduce it. I cannot overly emphasize the concept around practice. And lastly, before we go, Uncle John, you said I can share from my screen, right? If I'm on screen yet? Okay, so I will need to come back again. And lastly, before we talk about our nation, I really want to talk about our nation. And we have to watch a video, just five minutes video or thereabout. Is access, right? Once you have mastered something, give yourself the opportunity to be around people who appreciate that thing. Be around people who appreciate exactly what it is that you're doing. Having said that, then let's do a review. Okay, you have brought me up. All right, so you can bring me up. Let me present. I just want us to watch something so I can talk about our country. Is that okay?
The amala wey you dey chop na 500. You see the meat wey you dey use chop am now.
Participate in this enriching membership school experience.
The amala wey
What happened?
Can I have the water?
Amen.
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 All right, you will bring out your passport, open the data page, and raise it to the heavens. You will decree and declare, my father, my father.
My father, my father.
I can't hear you. My father, my father. Is there anyone that says I will not japa? Such person should japada.
What's the happen now?
Prayers.
What's the happen now?
Prayers.
Huh? Wait, what did they do for church? On the Monday morning, I'm not supposed to be in class.
God, they use the prayer guide.
You do use a guide. No, Allah now. You can go back to your prayers. I'll go run the team myself.
Chill now, bro.
Wait.
I was anything.
Wait till you think.
Maga don't show.
Maga don't pay.
Maga don't pay.
This guy. Only coach. I'm going to
See, I carry my bag.
carry your bag.
Intensify.
Thank you, eh?
It's a grammar, it's like 5 minutes.
Like 5 minutes. 2-5, wait till I buy. This small plate.
Na mala wey you dey chop na 500.
Uh-huh.
You see the meat wey you dey use chop am na also 1,000.
1,500 now.
And the soup wey you dey use na 1,000.
You people not charge for soup.
Yes now.
Fear God now.
Why you no go charge for soup? I mean, you know they go market ni. You know sabi how much they sell the tomato.
Sir?
Add a bill to mine.
Thank you, Prof. She's happy with it.
Thank you so much, Prof. God bless you, sir.
You are welcome, Betty.
Thank you.
Betty, baby.
Sir?
So, when are you coming to my office to check your MAT 401 result?
Sir, we'll check when they paste the result.
Huh? And you don't think that might be too late?
Oh, we'll just wait and come with others when they are coming to check their own.
You think so?
Yes, sir.
Well, maybe I should remind you that the ladies that waited for me to paste the result last year have all returned to the same class for extra year. I hope you know what I'm talking about.
I'm struggling to understand you, sir.
You are struggling. Sunita, are you struggling with your grades?
Prof now.
Betty, baby, when you are ready for me, you know where to find me. Sunita, Amodada, shall we?
Amen. My fellow Jakparians, don't forget we are meeting tomorrow and make sure you come. God bless you.
So, what you did, you see, come, make I show you. Make I show you this one. Make I show you this one. This one. I need this. Guy, don't be a pastor with that. You guys not supposed to be fasting today.
Come. How far?
See, look here.
So this is the post UTME question for the exam tomorrow. If your son can study properly overnight, he shouldn't have any issue passing.
I trust you. I know be say shit and no brilliant. Oh, he's just unfortunate to have picked his father's grade. But don't worry, I will send you the balance later in the evening. Thank you. Wait in there! Now you they do something, I mean something they do you.
No, collabo.
Which kind of collabo? Now that collabo go pay your salary.
Hello, who is here?
Yes, ma'am.
So what did you?
I told you the bill is off.
Your bill is 47,000 euros, sir.
47.
Yes, sir.
You can keep the change.
All right, thank you, sir.
Madam, like I said earlier, I don't have such amount of money. It's too much. How much do I make in a year? That my tax will be 10 million naira.
Accumulate it. Besides, that money goes straight into the government account.
Even though, do something.
You know what? Sylvia, come. So we just take this out and let's just give him this one. So, Mr. Ade, we have reviewed your bill. You can pay 7 million naira.
6 million for your facilitation fee.
So,
how much will now go to government account?
Oga, please don't raise your voice at us.
you know what? Come to the office on Monday to be nice.
Wait, let's talk.
No, Monday
please.
is fine.
Please, let's talk.
Kill him!
Yes. Wait. Take that producer. It's 1,200 naira per liter. So you know what to do. Just put it.
Pour the petrol on him. Pour it on him. Let him burn. After 64 years of torment and bad leadership, squandering the duties paid to him to develop the entire community, this man needs to be executed immediately.
Yes.
Kill him.
It is today that I know that the wages of sin is death.
Yes.
Jungle justice! Jungle justice! Is this the local way of convicting a criminal? But this man is a non-criminal. Is this not Mr. Otondo? Is it the one that we are calling a criminal?
Yes. But we all know that he's a thief.
Yes.
He's useless and wasteful, irresponsible man.
Yes. Is it not the one that has provided comfort and shelter for all of you all this while? Is it not from his hands that we have been fed and nurtured?
Story. That was a bastard. He's not a bad man.
Yes.
This man is a wicked and irresponsible.
We will find solace in another land.
Yes.
We don't even mind scrambling or starting afresh.
Yes. Well. Maybe I understand that Mr. Otodo's hands are not clean. He squandered the resources meant for everyone. But those who live in glass houses should be careful of throwing stones, cursing, and executing Mr. Otondo, especially by those of us who are also criminals. Nothing but let any of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone.
Please, let's not be distracted by this murder in Israel.
Exactly.
The good thing is that we're not using stones here.
What will be our final verdict? Okay. See, let us start his execution from his right hand.
Yes.
Got the right hand. Right hand.
Yes. Cut it off.
Wait. Cut him from the leg, please. Cut it. The right leg.
Nigeria no good. Nigeria no be better place. Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world. I beg, who be Nigeria? Rather than pointing accusing fingers at the obvious culprits in our nation, let us not forget the elephant in the room. The bad deeds in a society caused by you and me. A better Nigeria starts first with every one of us. By doing our part, we can charge others guilty with clean hands. And that way, we can pass on the torch that will light up the entire nation. Nigeria no go spoil for my hand. You unko?
All right, so let's stop that. So you can take me off and bring us back to the normal. So what did we understand? Did we notice the people who want to kill the country are the people who are also killing people in their own individual state? The lecturer wanted to sleep with somebody. The woman who was taking the front seat was also collecting exam question for a child. Oh, maybe when you understand by me, please pass the money because your mastery will benefit the country. Maybe because of you, people will not leave this country. So, don't you understand by the? I jumped quickly into reading out what I learned from it.
Well, what I learned from this short clip is that it's just explained our situation in Nigeria.
Yeah,
that we looked at the window to blame others for our woes. Like all of us have been contributing to the precarious situation the country found itself. But we don't want to take that blame. We want to shift the blame to other people.
I will put you, Dr. Hannison, in my heart, right? Once you establish those business, the number you will touch will take out. Won't it reduce employment?
It will.
Did we notice at the end of the video, they now say they want to kill Nigeria, and then by the time he hit the hand, all their hands went down. Did we notice that?
Yes.
We learned anything. We picked anything from that. Sure.
So is it the fact where they were trying to update the Nigerian figure or just the entire lesson?
Yes, the entire thing.
It's difficult to actually be the woman advocating for Nigeria. Because most times you're advocating for people who don't want you to advocate for them.
Exactly.
So you see how, for me, because it's a drama, that's why the woman was not really dealt with, or even amputated as well. It's so difficult trying to support, trying to help people that don't want you to help them.
Exactly.
So it's, for me, when I was watching, I was focusing on the woman. It's actually difficult with that woman.
So here's what I really want us to learn, right? Nigeria is complex. If you carry Nigerians' problem on your head, you will not sleep. But let me tell you, if you be master in your field, they said if your candle is up, it will light other candle. Just imagine how many people's life has been inspired because mine was inspired. This country will start getting better with individual success. If I ever be part of any service that brings passport and their pray, I might walk out. Right. Not like you should not go. Right. But you will meet us here, right? We need to understand that by the time we leave, our children will not have a place called home. Abi?
That's why I see something. Our father
So learn from him. He said he was blaming his father. How long? I got bitter with my parents, almost 6 months. I went to Port Harcourt to serve. And for the first time, I went to somebody's house. And everything the guy asked for, they gave. He wants to fly out, they brought him ticket. He wants to eat. For the first time, I saw abundance, real life. Then I now say, so what my parents doing? If you start that journey, you will sink with it.
What I'm just saying is, if we all live, said that if we leave our children anymore, I said our fathers did not live, and they are suffering.
So
we have to wake up.
Exactly.
Get it done so that our children will not point at us.
Fantastic. For those of us, okay, maybe very few of us have children. I have. In another 50 years, this country will either still be ours or is taken over by another person. And countries don't take over countries. Don't ever think that our fathers that they colonized, they were farming for other people's, they were beating them, they were shooting guns and they were killing. Have you watched some of these pictures of slavery that they will put our father? It can be real. The real issue, sometimes we think that it has happened in the past is in a movie. It can be you. And just imagine the quality of regrets we might have. If we are old, we cannot do anything, and yet our children are slaves. This is the best. And don't focus, when you are focusing on mastery, don't focus on saving this country. In your own area, make the country proud. I wanted to focus on this country. I just realized that it's an exercise in futility. What I do now is that for the businesses we run, I'm responsible 100%. One of our businesses, we have 60 persons working. Those 60 persons have salaries. Those 60 persons have families. If I sleep, they go slap me. Right. The slap will be, sorry, it's too harsh, right? The slap might be too somehow. So I retrieve that statement. But I carry the responsibility of those 60 in my heart. And that's why I still work hard. And so what if those 60 become 6,000? What if those 60 become 6 million? If you pay the price of mastery and you be master, two things will happen. First of all, the people you're responsible for will thank you. More importantly, your candle will light another candle. I just said when we were starting that You know, the lady that won Guinness Book of won a Guinness record, we knew each other in school. I saw my picture and her picture yesterday. We snapped personal together. And I wanted to share, but most of you will not know but sometimes you watch some of these. Her name is on World Guinness record. And there was a comment she made, right, in one of our posts and said how I inspired her. See, you will be responsible for the people that is directly impacted by the mastery you have gained, but more importantly, you will light other candle. If we keep lighting other candle, it's only a matter of time this country will be better. Your life is not just your life anymore. Your life is bigger. Your life is bigger. So I want to plead with you as we conclude this mastery series. The hard work you will do in being a master is not just for you, it's for generations and beyond. They used to write history now. They say, and so Fred lived from 1990 to 19, whatever time, right? And then he made it is you want to do as mastery or make this place better. And because of him, other people became better. Let's wear this nation's emblem proudly. Don't join people who speak again, I beg you. And I know some of us are tired. Huh? No, some of us are tired. And this nation might not have given us a reason to be proud. But it is people who make places. For those of he wants to be at the National Assembly, God forbid he goes to the National Assembly and then he starts looting. This is a time to build character. That whatever it is, they share money in some of those gatherings. You know, I've had a few stunts. I've seen a few things. This country is rich. It's just being mismanaged. But nobody will listen to us at this stage. But in another 15 years, they will listen to us. Yes. Or in another 15, 20 years, maybe some of us. Maybe there's even a president of the country in this place in another 30 years. Maybe there's a governor in this place in another 30 years. Why would they be using the FCC to pursue you? Won't you be proud that you turned a state to London? Abi? Won't you be proud? Won't you be proud that you made animal health infrastructure in Africa better? Won't you be proud? Won't you be proud that it is your research work that lifted up Africa? For people who write stories, some of the things we do in Africa is buried under other people's story. Won't you be proud that it's you that brought lamplight to the country? So whatever it is that you want to do, start it now and know that it will not end on your decks. It will be inspiring to others. So are we all committing to a 10 years, 4 years, 20 years journey? I want you to join me. I'm Zara is here. One day she was at my office and then she asked me, our last year's school, where I studied. I've given a video to our partnership on growth team, one of our businesses. I think this is the video we are doing monthly. We are, and the figure we need to do monthly to get to where we are going is almost literally impossible. But you see, when you bite it and it's in your mouth, there are two things. Right? Either you cough it out or you swallow it. Eh? If you swallow it, I wish I can have pictures. You see it. The whole year. So it was the same lady that called. When she saw one of our expansion, I said, and you said this. Have I always been confident in her? Sometimes I show up afraid. Please write it down. Do it afraid. Once you bite it, and it's becoming choky. The good thing is that God, nature, whatever it is, comes to your aid. At moments where, for some of us that were with one of our businesses, there were moments where we were, it's just like I wasn't talking that much, you would think we are going to die. We are very much alive now, we are flying. You will not die. That thing that you are beating will not choke you. And if it chokes you and you are alive, you learn the lesson and still bite another one. Bite. So be afraid. God will come to your aid. You will be able to swallow it, you will digest it, and you'll be an inspiration to others. But don't say you want to bite the only thing that you can chew. If you do that, you will not be able to stretch the limit of what it is possible with you. Lion King Simba went back and chased out that lousy uncle out and took over the kingdom. Just imagine if you didn't go back. There's a kingdom meant for you that you will need to. I honestly see, we did an advert and we say king of supply. I honestly think that one of our businesses will be the leader in Africa within the next 5 to 6 years. Like the leading. That's so much for a bus conductor, right? The bus conductor that is already deceived that his life can stretch. So go do it and bite more than you can what? Chew. If you choke, learn the lesson and bite again. Let's take one more question and then we'll go ahead.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
I'm scared of taking us back, but let me just ask the question because this is actually my first time being here and I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. It's actually based on sharing. Okay. Maybe I want to be a master of something. I want to be a master of data analysis and the likes. Some persons, I want to get your take. Some persons are of the opinion that you don't share most of your visions or all your visions, because sometimes when you do that sharing, there's this dopamine effect. You feel good, and that's all. You're not inspired again. Some persons, people like Thomas Edison, I've read a story like that where he tells you what he wants to do. That he would do this, let's say in December. He will do it, he'll get it for you in December. He has not started, but he will tell you so as to inspire himself and give himself that pressure. So what's your take? Because I just feel strongly that you yourself don't share everything. There are some things in your heart that you want to do the next 10 years that maybe you wouldn't tell everybody. So what nature of idea or journey towards mastery do we tell people? What is it that we should not tell people? I just want to get your take on it. Thank you.
All right, so I think you asked for us in Africa, that's a very important question, because there's this phrase out there that don't share your vision, that people will kill it, or people will steal it. So you keep a lot to yourself. And people have killed visions. People have stolen ideas. My wife too wants me that I talk too much. We have not gone to Ghana. I'm telling you. Did I mention Ghana? We have not gone to another African country. And then I'm telling you, we will go to another African country. So let me say it like hot and cold at the same time. Do what works for your heart energy. Do what works for your heart energy. The year has not finished. Next year is coming. I'm saying that we'll expand to other African countries. Right. For me personally, it doesn't create fear that another person will kill it. It creates the energy to want to keep to my words. So I've already understood how my heart energy is and what inspires it. I tell you, billionaire at 40. Anybody who was close to me knew that that was what I was gaining for. So, but it comes with its consequences. So when the people around me tell me that, enemies can come after me, this is what I tell them. If an enemy can kill me, then I deserve to die. Right. So what that does again is that I carefully also build strength. It's not because you are stronger than me that you can kill me. So I can kill you too. I mean, enemies don't die. They die now. They die. So as I'm finding the vision, we're about to do something that will cause some people to be upset. Second quarter of next year. And I'm already reading strategy for war. So I'm psychologically 1 year before the event, I'm preparing for battle. In fact, when people think we're at this stage, we have gone beyond that stage. So, do what works for your heart energy. Some people, when they don't tell people, they work better, they are more secure, they are not afraid. Do that. Don't tell people. The only issue is how far. See, there's deception. I deceive people too. Right. Because this world is so crooked that people want to go after you. And you have to be prepared to maneuver. Because sometimes some people will wait for you where they said you're going to. So you have to master that art, but that's in a different class, right? But if you say you're going to keep everything to yourself, how big can you build? Since when did we know that Dangote was going to build a refinery? How big can you build by keeping secret? I don't want to share my idea. People will kill me. You can only build small. But if you build big, this thing I'm doing is training myself for bigger things. That you can announce that you're going to build a refinery years before you build it. You bought the land, you start importing the equipment. There are some success that is too big to hide it. What you need to do is to build strength. I don't joke with building emotional strength, spiritual strength, financial strength, and otherwise. It's part of my daily routine. In fact, if I get too comfortable, I look for trouble. They asked me to come and talk in Rome Business School, and then one of the guys said how to look for trouble. You can't be too comfortable that something is not waking you up in the night. So build strength. Well, maybe Dangote has not overcome everything, but is he not doing well? Be strong enough not to be killed. So do what works for your heart energy past time. But if it requires you to share. But more importantly, right? So there are things you could share publicly. There are a few set of people you can just open up to. There are a few set of people that I will lay there. This thing, I'm afraid of. We were in a meeting, Zoom meeting, with a core people that we've gathered for that are driven by data project. And I told them, this project, I'm afraid of it. But it's exciting at the same time. Once you find a problem that you're afraid, but it excites you, do it. Do it, right? That's so share. All right, so I think we can stop here. Just a quick announcement. Let's do this. So we're re-strategizing. This Sunday's meeting is taking a big chunk of my week, and I've had people also say that no, I can do it. Yes, I know I can do it. The challenge is that I have to keep today in my mind for it to happen. So I want us to reduce the frequency to once a month. Is that okay? I didn't see anybody clap, right? Thank you. I want us to reduce it to once a month. So the once a month, then we now put in all our efforts to. I will still be communicating with us. For those of us that are not on the WhatsApp group, I will still share. Maybe I will make it slightly more constant these days. And then if I watch anything that inspires me, I will throw it on the group, and then we can talk about it. And that's because I think I'm still building, right? And I still need another 6 years more to build something the world will pay attention to. So I want to focus on that, but we will still be growing as a community. And don't forget, the reason why we started this is so that I can pick people's hands and we can grow together. And I'm happy for the impact it has had this last two months or so, 2.5 months or there. But I think we started immediately after my birthday, I think July 20th or so. I can't remember the exact date we started. 20th, right. So I'm happy for the impact it has created. We will not stop that. So what I want us to do is to make it last Sunday. We're still okay. Sunday or Saturday, which is better? Sunday. Okay, Sunday is better, not Saturday. So again, so now let's do it this way. Let's we will do once a Sunday, one Sunday in the month. Pardon me. But we will make it, we'll put in all our eggs in that basket, right? And I want us to make it more like an energy meeting. So we will invite, and I have a network of people who are extremely very successful. I will want us to invite those people, maybe 2 or 3, have a panel meeting with them, like way successful than I do. Bring them in. Then we will have a section of us talking to us and interacting. then I could come up probably for another 45 minutes and just share my lessons. So with that, it will be interesting that we will have the whole field, right? Because it's just one, and I think this place can take around 40 or so, 50. Have it filled and have it concentrated. So instead of doing small that is diluted, we can do one and do it heavy, right? Do it heavy. Would that be a better plan? Okay. So what I did, so last Sunday of every month, is that okay? Or what Sunday, which of the Sundays it's agreeable? Which would we prefer? Huh? Okay. Which Sunday? So maybe like second Sunday of or third Sunday of the month? Huh? Third, second.
Why not first, so that you do like a beginning, so that whatever we learn at the end of the month.
Okay. To go and practice.
So that maybe when we come, maybe testimonies of
Don't well. Okay.
That's it.
Yes, I like the testimony part too, because again, you know, one is doing this and you're not hearing feedback, it doesn't really work for me. If we do first, it means I will have to do next week.
Yes.
It means I will have to do next week.
That's not from next week.
And that's okay, October.
That's not from November. First Sunday of November.
Okay, so you're doing first Sunday of October, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it gives us time. That means we will not do anyone in October. That works. What's the first Sunday of October? So we can still take the first Sunday in December, yes. You know, I'd had in my mind last Sunday, so I knew that the last Sunday in December, it's pretty, it's going to be very busy for most of us. So we can still do first Sunday in November and then first Sunday in December. But again, why is it difficult for us to fill the hall? So now I want to choose executives, right? I want to have volunteers for this meeting to take the reins of leadership, so that they will be the one cracking themselves up. That will be an interesting assignment, right? So I had 3 people volunteer. That's Dr. Iben. Please, can you be on your feet? We have Dr. Praise also, and then we have Fed. should we do an election? Let's manifesto. So I want to hand over. See if we come outside now. Let's enjoy ourselves. Thank you. I want to hand over to somebody who just takes it up, so that I think I really want to focus on the tasks I have at hand. So how do we handle this now? We shall allow them do money. No, no, I'm just joking. Don't worry, relax. All right. So I think we can get 3 of them to work together. All right? Yes, I think we can get 3 of them to work together. But I want to choose a leader, and that will be Dr. Ben. Iben, right? So we will have him lead the team, and then we will have them work as a team to ensure that 1st of November, I will give the direction, and then I might suggest the resource persons that we will have, but the arrangement, the ensuring that people attend, I will make you all admin in our K-Tribe move. The creativity around driving this whole thing, I want to put it on your shoulder as a team, so that I can take my mind off and still have it work. Would that be a good thing? That would be a very good thing. So do we have, anyway, I know 3 of them, so it's not like I'm new to any one of them, and I know they will do a fantastic job. So let me thank all of you, 3 of you heartily, for wanting to do this. It means a lot. You know, sometimes you have an idea. I used to tell people, we have centers across the nation. We are opening another one in Aba. See, I'm talking again now. Next month. Next month, but you cannot kill that one. So we found out we have a distribution center in Aba by next month, and to cover the southeast angle. And the thing I've enjoyed that has given me a measure of peace is the quality of people we have. They are fantastic. Everybody who works with us are fantastic people, like extremely very good people. So that's giving me a measure of comfort. So I know them, and I know I will not need to think about what happens. First Sunday of November, I'll just walk in with my water. Right? And then I know they will do an amazing job. So let me thank the 3 of you for even wanting to serve, and the impact of what we are doing will be credited to your emotional account, because each time you see lives change, I like it. I see Uncle Jerry, I see people around me. Once I see their lives move forward, who feels happy when you see that you're part of something and other people's life is moving forward? Money cannot buy that. Money cannot buy that. Dr. Zainab, see when she joined as an outlier and see where she's not a big woman now. So she came with a plan. I said, no, she should go and do it, that she can handle it, and she did a very good job. So seeing lives move forward makes me really very happy. And I know as you commit to this, you'll be happy. You'll be pretty very happy. And I know the sky is the beginning. Thank you so much. So let's put our hands together for the K-Tribe leadership team. So having said this, I want to hand over to our new K-Tribe leader, Dr. Iben, to come and end the meeting. And thank you so much. I appreciate everyone.
This feels very weird, but thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. It's a privilege for me and for the rest of the team members to have volunteered to do this. And we hope that this will be a continuation of what has started and that lives will continue to be impacted. As we close today, I just want us to have it at the back of our minds that you may not be able to change Nigeria as a whole, but you can change Nigeria from your little corner. You can change Nigeria from your backyard. You can change Nigeria from your street. And as we go, let's remember to do it afraid. Regardless, do it afraid. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you all first Sunday in November. Thank you.